past, and in that way position itself for future economic growth.
Jules, thank you. That's all we've got time for in terms of questions, but thank you also to the journalists, and also a special thanks to all of our panellists, Jules Kortenhorst, Laurence Tubiana, Jose Antonio Gonzalez Anaya and Omran Al-Kawari. Now, before we go, last but very much not least, we're delighted to welcome Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Betrand Badre, CEO of Blue Like an Orange Sustainable Capital. Bertrand, it's over to you.
Well, thank you, Joe. Mr. Prime Minister, it's a great honor and it's a privilege to have you with us today to discuss the green recovery on behalf of Project Syndicate and all the team. Many thanks for your time and making yourself available. You have been awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace. It's a turbulent world where people are very nervous on so many fronts. And I would like you to share with us some messages that you would like to send first to two important leaders in today's world, President Donald Trump and Chairman Xi Jinping in China.
Well, our generation is experiencing historic gains and losses across the world. Technology and wealth are being generated at unprecedented pace. The environment continues to deteriorate as more and more species are driven to extinction. Let us not leave a vacuum of leadership. Let us focus on the real problems and our common denominators.
My big question for you, Mr. Prime Minister, is to what extent climate change is already felt in Ethiopia? Is climate change a short-term or long-term issue?
Well, it is definitely a long-term issue. Our Green Legacy Initiative, for example, in the initial 4 years target for planting 20 billion seedlings is aimed at engaging citizens to adopt a more hands-on approach to climate resilience and environment protection. We believe through enabling ownership of the issue at the household level in the short term, we are paving the path for sustainable engagement on long-term issues.
Can you tell us a little bit about your vision on energy? And I'd like also to know whether your vision can be exemplary for the continent, for Africa.
Generating energy from modern and sustainable sources is at the core of our development ambition. 95% of Ethiopians use biomasses for cooking and directly competing with animal feed, causing indoor pollution and related severe respiratory problems. Ethiopian women and girls in particular spend hours every day collecting and transporting firewood in back-breaking work. Our prosperity ambition builds on a record of 15 years of continuing double-digit growth. A major driver of the growth was public investment in infrastructure. In this period, access to electricity in terms of lighting increased from 27% in 2003 to 45% by 2018.
The Convention on Biodiversity, which was supposed to happen this year, has been delayed to next year. But biodiversity is becoming more and more an area of focus of the international community. We'd be very happy to hear your view on conservation in Ethiopia. And do you expect more support from the global community to your efforts?
The Horn of Africa is one of the world's top 35 biodiversity hotspots. Ethiopia is blessed with a rich set of fauna and flora reflecting its a wide spectrum of physical and climate characteristics. On the other hand, the demand for firewood, overgrazing infrastructure, population growth, and climate change are threatening our biodiversity. Role of the global community. It starts with recognizing the benefits of our conservation efforts to the region and to the world as a whole. From that would follow supporting our initiatives financially and diplomatically. So the role of development banks and multilateral bodies is indispensable.
Thank you. Talking about development banks and international financial support, I'm a man of finance. As I said, I've started an SDG fund. So far I'm focused on Latin America, but I have the intention to move to Africa and obviously to Ethiopia. As I told you in the beginning, I came to Addis last for the Financing for Development conference in 2015. It was supposed to be a big shift at that time. I'd like to have your views on what happened since. And in particular, since the beginning of the COVID crisis, it seems that the level of international support has been disappointing, to say the least. Do you expect more now? That's my first question. My second is, have you noticed real changes since 2015? And last on that topic, and sorry to group all of this, what do you think of recent finance innovation? In particular, I have in mind the new idea of debt for climate swap, where basically you connect debt restructuring to an effort or to climate benefits.
Thank you. One approach that should be avoided is subjecting many of these mega problems of our times to one approach. There is no single silver bullet suited to all these complex challenges. Aid alone or foreign direct investment alone will not advance the climate issue. We need all of them and more together. I believe our approach to the climate agenda should be one that is focused on imagining a new future and attempts to solve for justice and sustainability in social, economic and environmental dimensions. Debt for climate swap appears promising for countries to liberate funds and redirect them to environment and climate-friendly initiatives. The DFCs should be considered as one of a menu of options weighed against the particular macroeconomic and broader development realities of each country. I am a strong supporter of innovations attempting to address evolving challenges. As painful and costly as COVID is, it has only strengthened our resolve and taught us to plan smart for an increasingly complex world. It is only a temporary disruption, not a change of direction. COVID-19 has taught us that the climate challenge has consequences that are inevitable global in effect. After all, supply chains and markets are global. We need unwavering international commitment, national policies and local measures to reduce and reverse our environmental footprint, particularly as our health systems and well-being are closely tied to the environment and sustainability. Hence, I don't necessarily view it as moving down a pile of priorities, but rather mainstreaming it within existing priorities.
Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. I hope I'll see you in Addis after COVID.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bertrand, thank you very much for that fascinating conversation. Now, that's all we have time for, except